Hello. One of the places students get confused is this notion and this idea of adding methods to their active record models. So let's take a look at this quickly. Just to note that absolutely, again, you can add instance and class or static, depending upon how you want to call them, methods, as you can with regular classes. All right. An instance method is one that works on an instantiated object. So in other words, this is where we have an actual object. It's got its instance variables. It's a thing, and it's been allocated in memory, and an instant method operates on that instance. These are the methods you are most familiar with. We can also create class or static methods. These are methods that are on the class name. There is no actual object instantiated. There's no object with member variables and instance variables, whatever we want to call them. This is just a method that we have chosen to attach to this class name. Okay? They are different. One we will access via the class name. The other one we will access via a reference to an instantiated class, to an object, an actual object, okay? When do we use which one? Well, we use these static methods. I like static because it's a term that you're familiar with from Java. It's also what's in C++ and C#. They're called class methods in Ruby, so bear with me, but I think static is fine. Use static methods for methods that operate, again, as I just said, I don't know why I don't just do my notes, without an instance. Okay. In the case of active record objects, this is usually to fetch a set of objects. And almost all of the methods you saw me use just in the previous thing, you noticed I started with the name of the class, book. All of those were static methods that were created by active record. There was no book object there. Now, when I used the lowercase book and I set book.title to something, I had an actual book object and I was able to access its title directly, okay? Pretty neat. Or I was able to call book.save. That was an instance method to save that object to the database. All right. But it was the lowercase book.save. All right, go look at the notes, go look at the video. The uppercase book is the class name. The lowercase book was the object there. I could have named the book object, Fred, Mary, whatever, but the book class would always be the camel-cased book. Anyways, so for example, you might have a static method. Maybe you define this, and so this goes inside of the class definition. So you could do def, and they're always preceded with self. Okay, self dot, and maybe I've got some notion of, like Instagram posts or something, and I want it just to actually fetch the most recent ones. And I have some logic with recency or something there. And so inside of here, I write some code to query the database and get back, the posts that I want, and I return them. This is a static method. It would be run on, let's say I've got a post class, some class. The idea is I'm just using it to run some database stuff to fetch the objects that I want. It's some special way. Basically, it's a way to package up a SQL query inside the model, and then I can run it just with this method call. All right. But so static methods, this is the normal way that you're going to end up using static methods. On the other hand, for an instance method, and you can write these as well. Again, these are for the actual object. When we have an object in hand and it has its values, you could write, def. You're gonna, oh, I have some object and I'm going to like compute its area, So I could compute in here the area and return, return its value, and that's end, And I would need to be referring to the various variables. Maybe I have something representing a circle, and I also know, so on my circle object, I know its radius. And then using the radius, I could compute its area and return its area. That's not a class method. So a class method operates without an object in hand. Usually our class methods or our static methods are always going to be, again, to fetch something from the database. An instant method is the methods you're used to. The object is there and you have values and you want them, and you can write lots of these as well. You just need to distinguish between them. All right. We'll later cover 4 models dealing with associations and validations. All right. So the associations are all about dealing with relationships between the entities, and the validations, again, are basically input checking, making sure that the correct values are always placed inside of our objects.